And that was when my life kind of changed, because he was a rough alcoholic bully. We lived next to a cash and carry, and I used to go round during the night, and what they'd thrown in the skip, I'd go and help myself. Just before my 16th birthday, I applied for the Navy then, and he says, come back in 6 months. And he didn't actually give me a reason. Right, I'm going to go for the Marines. I didn't know anything about it, but I knew I didn't want to go home. At weekends, you all get the opportunity to obviously ring home. There was points where there's no point in trying to ring up anymore because there's no one at the end. So I went straight to Arbroath and joined Mortars. I went on to selection January 97, failed on test week, and then I went back, and I shouldn't have because I failed on the same week. I didn't want to go back to 4-5s. I felt embarrassed. I went off the rails for a couple of years. I kept on getting in trouble, and I went to Colchester then. I went on the senior command course, and then I was in a room with a couple of SBS blokes. See if you can have another go. I wrote to the training officer at Hereford, could you please give me another chance? And he said, yeah.
You've been there, seen it, done it, and you've got lessons that people can learn from you without a doubt. Welcome to this week's Debrief, where I have with me today a former SF operator and Royal Marines Commando, Pasha Munro. How are you, buddy? All right?
I'm very well, thank you. Nice to be here.
Great to have you. Listen, we finally got you over the line. Lorraine Kelly stood in for you last time.
Yeah, she was better than me.
I don't know. I will be the judge of that. Right. Listen, great to have you here. Can I just delve into your childhood first? I want to know all about you. By the time you've left, I want to know all about Pasha.
Okay.
And how you got to where you are today. So, what was it like? Where were you from?
So North England, just outside of Hull, Doncaster area.
Okay.
Obviously born in the 70s, early 70s. My father he came over from Bangladesh through the industry of the area, started working there. Then obviously I came out. That relationship didn't last very long. I had an older brother. I can't remember anything in my childhood of him. But he was taken away and shipped back
to Bangladesh
to have his life. And my dad, I don't know what happened, but my dad stayed. So I don't actually know what happened to him.
Wow! So you got a brother out there. You
yeah,
just
but I have met him since in the UK just to have a look who he is and what he's about. But yeah, he got sent over there for 10 years and lived with people he didn't know, and so I could have been that.
So what happened to your dad? Your dad went back as well?
No, he stayed here. He stayed in the town, and got remarried, and had his own family there.
Did he have anything to do with you?
I seen him in the streets now and then, because all right, Dad, kind of thing, and he kind of didn't really acknowledge me. I remember one day going, because I knew where he lived.
Yeah,
I went round. Oh, it's my birthday, kind of thing, and I got 20p.
That was a lot in the day, though. I'm going to say, like, you know what I mean? I'd have snapped your arm off. I'd have caught it on the back of my head if I'd have dropped it, like, do you know what I
mean? So, and then my mother, we lived quite close to him.
Yeah.
And she's single parent then, and then met someone else of the same ethnic. She kind of liked that.
Yeah.
That's ethnic.
Yeah. That was the thing. So yeah.
But that didn't really work out, and then Mum met a Scotsman, who came in and moved in, kind of thing, with a couple of his children, and that was when my life kind of changed.
For the better or the worse? For
the worse, because he was a rough alcoholic bully.
That's the right person to be a stepchild to, isn't it?
Yeah, and I don't think he acknowledged my ethnicity, thinking about it, because
so there was probably a little bit of tension there because he didn't
he didn't really want that. He wanted mum for mum, but we had to be pushed to the side, kind of thing. And his children were kind of like that as well at the time. So I was getting battered constantly. Do
you get on with them now?
No, he did pass.
But, no, do you get on with them, the children?
No, I've never.
Really?
Never. Okay,
so
I'll get to that.
Go on, yeah. Go on, sorry, I'm jumping the gun here.
So we ended up moving to his house at another part of the town, and then he was at the time he got done for drink driving, and he was a lorry driver, but then he went into the pub trade, so he was a landlord of one of the roughest pubs. So that's kind of, he had to keep the the momentum of him being a tough.
Was he a tough bloke? Was he?
Well, at the time when I'd see his mates and things like that, they would say, and that's all I knew at that stage. So I didn't really know if he kind of could stand or was that. Do you know?
Yeah. So he had a reputation.
He did.
Yeah.
And he was only a little man, so he was just a stroppy Scotch. Okay. Which is kind of a tick in the box.
That's it. Gets angry with whiskey.
Oh, yeah, that's it. And he's the biggest man in the world. But when we moved into their house, it was difficult because there was no nothing in place. I.e., there's no heating, there's no food. It was just kind of shocking. So he'd come back every night, completely drunk, and if we're in the way, he'd start throwing us around.
Really?
And then he'd sleep on the settee, and then we'd kind of sit near him, right, trying to watch the TV, and then he'd go up and have a swamp on the side of the wall. That was normal every night.
Really?
And it was normal.
As a kid, you must be like looking at that going, wow, that's...
And, and I really, really hated it because I could see Mum getting battered a lot as well, more than us.
Yeah.
And he was a golfer, and I got that upset about it, and I wouldn't ever have done it because I didn't have the balls to. Yeah. And I had a club in my hand in front of him one night on the set, and I thought I really wanted to do this, but I just didn't have the balls. And I
had a similar thing. I picked up a knife behind my adopted old man's back, and I didn't have the nuts to stick it in him. Like, do you know what I mean? I really wanted to. I was wild with it. Like, do you know what I mean? I was sort of like, what if he gets it off me?
Yeah,
then I'm in a world of it myself.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, what a horrible experience. That's really poor. So, what were you like at school? Did it have an impact on your schooling?
No, because I wanted to be at school because I was free.
Yeah,
kind of, and I had friends
away from that,
and I was getting fed.
Yeah,
school dinners was amazing, and people used to drip about them, but it was good for me because I was getting food.
Yeah, proper scoff.
And at night time, we lived next to a cash and carry, and I used to go round during the night, and what they'd thrown in the skip, I'd go and help myself. So it was horrible. For sometimes when they throw meat in there's maggots and shit everywhere.
Yeah.
But it was a way of getting stuff and bringing it back because I had a younger brother and sister as well, so we'd just go and get stuff.
Really?
But the battering and that carried on, and then quite a few times we went to the women's refuges, and we'd stay in a one-bedroomed kind of room.
All the kids.
All me and my other brother and sister and my mum. So we went through that process quite a few times, and then I'd get shipped out to foster parents now and then. So it wasn't stable.
No, that's not stable at all, is it?
No.
All the time. Did you do all right at school then, though? Did you pull through at school? Did you get results and that sort of stuff?
No, because when I got to about 12, a lot of my friends were joining the cadets, and that's the way I went into cadet.
You went into cadets?
Yeah, I went into the Sea Cadets actually, because most of my friends at the time were that's the route they went. So I joined them, but then there was the Marine Cadets, but because I joined the Sea Cadets, the CA won't let me transfer, which was fine because I was kind of doing the same things anyway. Yeah. And I did that throughout, and I really enjoyed it. And that's where I got my tribe, and I wanted to be, sounds ridiculous, but I wanted to be with the men.
Yeah. No, I totally get it.
And I felt safe.
Yeah.
And as long as I could stay at weekends with them, I'd be looked after and I'd be having fun, and I'd just go back and wait for the next Tuesday, Thursday night to get away again.
Yeah, the other thing I found because I did CCF for a little while, and I got bullied at the school that I was at, really bullied there. And I found that once we all put that green kit on and we were all treated the same, the bullying actually stopped. Like, do you know what I mean? Because that period that you were in CCF, I was actually quite good because I was fit. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So other people like, I can't do that. I can. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was an opportunity. It was a leveler. Like the military was a leveler for me. Do you know what I mean? It put everyone on the same page. When you was cleaning your boots, everybody's cleaning their boots and all that sort of stuff, innit? Do you know what I mean? So
no,
it was cool. So you left school.
So initially, just before my 16th birthday, coming up to the end, I applied for the Navy then, and I thought I wanted to be the first person to get in. So I went to Lincoln, the careers office, and he says, come back in 6 months. And he didn't actually give me a reason. So I was like, I obviously completely gutted because I've got to go back home now.
Yeah.
But on the way out, I saw the Royal Marines thing, and I was like, what? I thought I wouldn't mind having a look at that. I didn't do anything. I just went away and got a job as I worked in a foundry because the area I live is full of steel, etc. And what I did then is right, I'm going to go for the Marines. A couple of my mates had just joined. I didn't know anything about it. I know it would be a lot harder, and I knew that my fitness, I was good at my fitness, so I thought everything else would roll into it. But at that time, when I did go back to Lincoln as a potential Royal Marine candidate. I went to Lympstone to do the PRC, passed that superior fitness. But then when I tried to join, my mum, from the each people she met, changed my name, but not legally.
Right, okay.
So I couldn't. I had to prove who I was.
Yeah.
So I had to go through all the processes of, well, I was called this, I was called this, I was called this, but it wasn't all real. So that took a good year to go through the solicitors and prove.
Did you have a passport on that though? Did you?
I never went. I'd never been
abroad.
You
had nothing.
Nothing.
You had no paperwork to back yourself up.
I didn't know who I was. There was no. There was nothing for me. So I had to prove it all.
Later on, that might come in quite handy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I could be do anything.
That's it. Yeah. So you eventually get the paperwork sorted out, and you go and off to Lympstone.
I went off to Lympstone, completely not really knowing what I was going to get into, but I knew I didn't want to go home, and that was the main effort. I didn't want to stay in the area I was with, because I could easily have been influenced of going down the routes of doing badness or getting into trouble and things like that. And I think I would have been good at that.
No, I'm exactly the same as that. Exactly the same. Do you know what I mean? And actually, I felt safe. Once I drove into the army, I thought no one can get me in here either. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I went through those gates, and I'm like, get me in here. Do you know what I mean?
And you feel protected then as well.
You do,
and that's what I think I needed, because no one ever protected me either, because I went through all them stages, and I never had a figure. So my figure was the tribe at the cadets kind of thing. That's because I didn't have it at home. Yeah.
No, that's. I think a lot of people feel like that. I've interviewed quite a few people now, and that thing that the forces give you is almost, it is family, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's, people sort of like, no, but it is.
No.
It actually is, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And a lot of people that end up on that side of the wire are there because they're trying to get away from there.
Yeah, you're running away.
Yeah.
And it was at that stage that, there was the option, the French Revolution. People was legging it to do that as well. So if you didn't ever get in wherever you wanted to, there was always that door.
You don't need a name there even.
No, exactly.
They'll give you one.
Yeah, I've got a new everything identity.
So how did you find it? How old were you when you finally got into the Marines?
I was 19.
Okay, and how did you find training?
Horrendous.
Yeah.
The physical stuff was fine. I was passing out everything fitness, but it was the understanding of what I was required to do. The drills, the this, that, and that. It was all new to me because I never even practiced it. I'm not saying you need to go into that. Yeah. But I wasn't a fast learner.
Right, okay, so...
And it was my fault.
Couple of taps on you.
Yeah, I had a few more beastings, which made me fitter, which was good.
Mate, some of my happiest times were at the guard room, mate.
and I'm on the bottom field getting thrashed a bit too much. But I actually enjoyed getting caked in the mud and crap from being beasted. For some reason, I like going back and cleaning everything up, and I felt kind of proud I was doing it all and putting it back in my locker and all that. Most people hated that part, but I actually enjoyed that bit. And I think it's because I got my own possessions. I never had possessions either. No. So that locker everything in that locker was mine, so I should look after it.
Yeah. I totally get that as well. So you got through your training. Any bits stand out in your training as being your sort of like favourite parts?
Not really. It was just a mumble. At weekends, you all get the opportunity to obviously ring home. There was I can only remember one phone box, and a few times I tried to ring home and I never got anything. So that was a bit of a kick in the balls. I always remember that, and there was points where there's no point in trying to ring up anymore because there's no one at the end. So people during their training had opportunities to get things off the chest or, speak to someone who actually loves them and wants them to progress, where I'm not been doing the flute or anything.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think all that process later on, if you can turn that round for your gain and your knowledge of that, I personally think it makes a better person.
It's a positive from a negative, mate.
But you have to, or you just...
That's all you need to do in it. So you come out of there, you pass out on your first attempt.
No, I got back trooped.
Okay.
I got back trooped a month.
Injury or
And that no, that was because I wasn't picking things up. And,
Okay.
you know, and when you do hear people getting back troop in the Marines, people don't put their hand up and say it. Well,
No.
I actually do.
no,
I'm not bothered.
That's, you know what? That's such an honest answer because people sort of like,
Yeah.
oh, injury. Yeah, injury is the normal one.
No,
isn't it,
no,
for
I
excuse, but you
wasn't good enough.
You was not getting enough taps on the end.
Yeah, no, I think it's the week 15 Baptist run.
Yeah.
You come for a full week of kind of test signals, test this, test that, you know, whatever you do, I really can't remember. And at the end, yeah, you're not good enough, go back a month. Absolutely gutted, but I'm still there.
Yeah.
You know, I've got to pick myself up, and you haven't sent me home, so that's good enough.
It's a plus, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
a plus, and you're going to meet different people,
Yeah.
and you know you'll know more people when you finally get to your regiment.
Well, yeah.
You did know and all that sort of stuff. So
Absolutely.
You know, so when you finally pass out, did anybody come to your passing out parade? Or were you one of these who sort of like,
Well,
at the end of it, you're like that? Because I was like that.
Yeah. so my parents never turned up,
Okay.
but a couple of my friends did, which was very humbling. That
Yeah.
somebody was in the audience, and then they came. I went back home with them for the weekend, but yeah, my parents didn't, and he was drunk, so it never.
Did it bother him? Did you tell him I'm now Marine, or was he not even sort of
A
like?
couple of years
couldn't care?
later, I came home and he was battering it, and I grabbed him and kind of strangled him and told him to wind it. Even though I probably thought he could have battered me again,
Yeah.
but he didn't, and he kind of let me do it. I don't know if he let me do it, but he didn't put up anything.
Well, there must have been a reluctance there. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? He now, in his own mind, he might not. What are you capable of now? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He knows what he's capable of, but what are you
Yeah.
capable of? And he doesn't know that, does he? Do you know what I mean? So, it's still not a nice thing to do, though, is it?
No.
Horrible thing to do. So, what was your first posting? Where did you go?
So I went straight to Arbroath, and straight
Is that 4-5?
4-5,
Okay, yeah.
and joined Mortars, which to join Mortars, it's the senior troop.
Yeah.
And they don't like new boys. It was horrible. And, you know.
What do they call you in the Marines? A nod, isn't it? Is it a nod? Is
Well, a nod in training,
Yeah.
but it's a sprog. You know,
a sprog?
I'm the duty sprog. And
You are the duty sprog.
I'm the duty sprog. And everyone had been in
Every
loads.
duty's yours.
Yeah, and I'm just the flipping, the runner, you know, everything. I'm buying, I'm off to the naffy for who wants what, do you know what I mean? But I was looked after, though, because they was the most senior troop. Once they let me in, it was beneficial because all the rest of the camp would kind of leave me alone then. So I was allowed to be myself. And I was a bit worried coming in, a bit ethnic.
Yeah.
And it was fine.
Did you ever experience any? Have you? Because I don't see the ethnicity in it at all. Have you ever had any of that sort of bullying in your life? Have you ever sort of like felt the heat of racism?
I did later on, which I can get to.
Yeah.
But not really. When you're in training, it's if it happened, I think it happened because everyone gets shit, and if he says the wrong thing to me, that's by the by.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's personal. I think it's just him in a rage that I've fucked up.
Yeah.
And he's going to try and belittle me. And
of course. Yeah. I get that.
It's nothing. I wouldn't say it was something that was there.
Yeah. So I forgot where we were now. Sidetrack. So first, you're in Mortars Platoon.
Yeah.
What was your first operational tour?
So
what year was that?
That was 92. I joined Mortars.
Okay.
Went straight out to mountain training with the mortar, part of the bipod at the time.
Because that is a lump as well,
That's
isn't it?
frigging. I'm this big, and
lump,
it was hanging off everywhere. I didn't know what I was doing, but that was when I started enjoying being in the mountains, and that was my foot straight in there. And it was hard work, of course, but
Is that the first time you see MLs in action? Was it?
Yeah, and I looked up to that. This is amazing, and I felt at peace. I don't know if it's the right word when I was in the hills, and it was just a safe place.
Yeah.
And then the next following January, I went straight to Norway, which was amazing because I'd never been abroad. I was on a plane, and it was a complete new environment, and it was tough.
Yeah. Norway can be tough. It's cold. It's hilly.
And that year, because we had these cookers, we put the naphtha in, and obviously you're cooking in the tent. I think there was about 5 fatalities that year, all in. either in BVs where they didn't open the ventilation,
Right,
or
okay,
the
so-
tents that they didn't open the zip when they're cooking. So
Wow. So literally.
yes,
Yeah.
there was gone. I remember one day it was -30, so we all stayed in that camp, and that was the day that whoever they were, the tent didn't wake up. So because
Wow.
there was just making the foods and not.
Yeah,
opening the door.
that's pretty tough. So, Norway exercises, and the Marines were known for going to Norway, weren't they? It was sort of like
Yeah.
you were the Arctic troops, weren't you? So everyone. Did you do any tours in Northern Ireland or anything? Did you?
I did 3.
Okay.
So came back from Norway. Then I went to Belize for 6 months, which is amazing. So I was in the jungle 6 months.
They always like to chuck you out of snow into the heat, don't they?
Yeah. So, wait a minute. Which hat do I want?
Yeah.
What kind of cam cream do I need today? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I thought that was amazing because that kind of environment, it's you. Yet again, from being in Norway, it's all about your own admin and how you can look after yourself. And goes straight into the opposite, but the same thing in the jungle. So you need to administer yourself before anything. And 6 months there was brilliant. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. Was Raoul's Rose Garden open then, was it?
That was my first.
We all know the Rose Garden.
Yeah, that was my first
Run ashore.
run ashore with the
Run ashore.
ladies.
There you go. Right, leave it there. Right, park that one up. I just wanted to know if you knew it. That's all.
Yeah, I knew it very well. I was 18. Well, I was 19,
18
20.
years old. I didn't get what.
And it was cheap as chips.
Oh, I'd have been 18 years old. I was in my 20s before I got there. But I'm telling you now, 18, I'd have been a mess in there. I'm telling you.
It was brilliant. And it's on the doorstep, wasn't it? It's right
Yeah,
next to the
yeah,
camp. So I'm going for a walk kind of thing.
Yeah, to the Rose Garden.
And then you're going through the little things with sheets. Like, all right, mate.
Brilliant. Oh, all right. So, right, let's go to Northern Ireland. Leave Rouse alone, right? Let's go to Northern Ireland. What was your first tour? Where did you
So
go?
I went to Fermanagh.
Okay.
That was the first time since the bombs. So we was the first patrolling,
Yeah.
so, which was fine. But the whole time I did any of my island trips, it was boring. It was just sentries, stag on. It wasn't exciting.
So you didn't do close observation platoon or anything like that? You just...
Pardon?
Or cot? You had cot?
No, I
didn't you?
never
Yeah.
did that.
No,
I was
never,
just,
never did nothing like that. Just
no,
straight
I was just in the sangers.
bodding it in a sang.
Yeah.
Did you
walking.
go up the ranks much? Did you?
So I did. I came back after one island tour, and in '96 I went for selection. Well, I went for the Acquaint, and then '97 I went on selection.
That's right, the Acquaint.
Yeah, that
I
was
could never get
horrendous.
my head around that because it's like, and guys used to turn up dripping
Yeah.
about the Acquaint.
Oh.
So for people at home who might not know, so before you went on selection, and it was combined selection in our day, you did a thing called an Acquaint if you came from a commando background. And it just sounded honking, didn't it? It just sounded like their excuse to give you
It was
a good old kicking before you went anywhere.
probably worse than selection because the absolute selection, they're kind of grown up.
Yeah.
Where you're free for them to be beasted. They can do anything to you.
It's not my beat up for P Company. My beat up for P Company was, I did it with the Log Battalions and Infanteer. Do you know what I mean? What do I expect? Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. So you failed the Acquaint or did you fail selection?
No,
that
I
time?
passed. I went on to selection January '97, failed on test week, I wasn't good enough. And then I went back.
That's the same selection as me.
January '97.
January '97. That's when I went on selection.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then I went back
Okay.
on the summer.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't have because I failed on the same week. I failed the same. So
Wow, okay.
that was it.
So you failed twice?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
So I went back to Plymouth then. I changed the unit. I didn't want to go back to 4-5s. I felt embarrassed.
Right. Okay.
So I went to Plymouth and I went off the rails for a couple of years, boozing. I went on the boxing squad, which didn't help. So I went to the Navy boxing team in Portsmouth.
Okay.
I did a year there, which is, you're a professional sportsman, but it didn't help that I was drinking too much and I was pretty good at it.
Was
So
you having a bit of sport in the kebab shop?
yeah,
and all?
I wasn't very. My behaviour wasn't very good.
Yeah. I've been there certainly. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not. Yeah.
And then from that, I went to. Before that, I I was in Norway for another Norway, and then I got in trouble, and I came back and went to Detention Quarters.
Okay.
Which was the Navy
equivalent
prison.
of Colchester.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But after I came back from selection, I kept on getting in trouble, and I went to Colchester then.
Oh, you went to Coley proper?
Yeah, because then DQs, that got closed down. So it was all the group.
Yeah.
So I visited there as well.
How long did you get in there? For scrapping?
Yeah, I got 27 days there.
27 days soldier on. See, I got what did I get? I got 28 days in Northern Ireland for fighting soldier on, but they made me do it in Northern Ireland, and they proper thrashed me there. Like, do you know what I mean? It was like free time. They proper, the RPs and the regimental police. Like, do you know what I mean? Proper got into me, like, do you know what I mean? But in a weird way, I was like, I know some of that. Do you know what I mean? Go on, break me.
Yeah. You can't break me.
Yeah, go on, do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a good friend of mine who's actually part of this now, John. He was in there with me, and they used to make us run with this fire cart like that. And we used to go so fast they couldn't keep up.
Yeah, exactly. And you're beasting them because they can't do it.
So now they're getting fed up. They're going to put him away for half an hour.
Absolutely. Yeah. They haven't got anyone to keep it going because they're all flipping rubbish.
That's it. Yeah. You've outrun the lot.
You're getting your time down.
Oh dear. So you go through all this hassle. When did you did MLs as well, didn't you?
So I came back after I went to Colchester. I thought, right, I've have to if I want to stay, I need to book my ideas up. So I got put on a motors MFC course.
Okay.
Which was great.
You were obviously quite good at your job because otherwise they'd have probably at that stage gone. Well, soldier. See you later, mate. Do you know what I mean? So you're obviously making the right noises. So they must have seen
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went to, I think it was Warminster. Did my motor fire control, which was great because our room was with the paras, so we had a great time. I got in trouble there with the paras. So, and I went.
You did.
I stayed for a weekend. He's still in the paras. He's a quite high officer now. We went downtown. We got in a scrap, and the Monday morning they pulled us out of the course. We had to go, and that. I've never said this, but I stood in front of the RSM and he goes, "What the, why?" And I goes, "Oh, he called me a black so-and-so." And he didn't, this bloke. He didn't at all. I just knocked him out.
One time race card.
I did. And there's like, get back on the course. You're like, fucking, I'm back in. Fucking hell, what do I... I shouldn't have really done that. And,
there you go.
You know what I mean?
Pays to be a winner.
But it worked. I stayed on the course.
Genius.
I was flapping a bit,
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
But thankfully, I got the power off it as well because it got us both off it. So
absolutely, you stood up both. Rightly so.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean? Stand by and watch races happen.
Yeah, brilliant, mate. Brilliant.
Superb. So you get through that. They obviously did quite well on that in the end. Once you had your little threw your card in, and then and then so was it. When did you do your MLs?
So I went back to Plymouth. And I started getting really keen, and I really I wanted to do something different. And I'd failed selections. I was like, right, what's the next best thing? It was the ML course.
Yeah.
And I didn't think of that, but we got sent back to South Armagh in 2002, or 2001 into 2. And I was like, how the fuck can I get out of this? Because it's boring.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, my sergeant major was an ML. I goes, can I go on the ML's course? He goes, yeah, I'll vouch for you. You don't have to go off and do whatever selection. There was something you needed to go do, but I was on ops, so he's like, I'll vouch for you and put you on it. So I got out. I finished. I got pulled off the island tour to go on the ML's course in June, July 02.
And how did you find that? Because I have heard that it's a nails course.
It's horrendous. Horrendous. I mean, the beastings. The rock climbing was horrendous. I hate rock climbing. So my arms were killing every day because I was trying to do pull-ups the whole way. It was horrendous. But I knew what the end product was, and that's all I wanted, because I wanted people to know, and I enjoyed, when I was in mortars, I was really good, and all the hierarchy enjoyed me and looked up to me for my advice. And then I saw MLs doing that, but at a higher level. And I thought, that's where I want to be. So all them beastings and climbs, that kind of pushed to one side, and I'm not bothered about that.
Okay.
And I think my mentality when I'm on a course is, well, that's the end date. I've just got to get to that. I don't think of
Yeah,
It
yeah, that's
beats
how
it.
I was on
I
selection.
don't
It's
care.
I'm not even thinking about tomorrow. I'm thinking about what I'm doing now. Do you know what I mean?
It don't bother me.
Yeah.
And yeah, the MLs is a long, hard, tough course.
How long's the course for?
Well, it starts in July and finishes the end of March.
Wow, okay. Yeah, so that is a very long course, yeah.
And then you go through various Cornwall, Wales, Scotland, then 3 months in Norway.
Wow. Yeah, 3 months. Yeah. So you're getting handed it the whole time.
Yeah.
And the conditions against you as well.
Absolutely. But yeah, I came back past that and then went back to 4-2 Plymouth, back as an ML, which was
So once
great.
you're an ML in the unit, what do MLs actually do? Because I'm sort of like...
So I was the OC's advisor whenever there's any mountainous kind of work. If I took them to Norway, then I'd be their instructor, all that, good stuff.
So it gets you on a few advanced parties, a little bit, which is always handy, isn't it?
But I got to a point where I was only there 6 months, and I got picked up straight away for a senior command course the next year.
Okay.
So, and I was getting really praise everywhere, and it was great, and I was getting respected. But I went on my senior command course too quick. Not too quick. I got picked up. There was obviously a list of people who should have probably gone on that course, but I it was merit based then.
Right.
So I jumped over all them and got my senior command, which I kind of pissed a lot of people off. And I'm like, well, I get what you're saying, but you just need to work harder. But if you're not getting them results, it's not my fault.
Absolutely.
And I was in the Corps 11, 12 years by then. I was like, I'm an old dude anyway. I've got experience, so give me a break. So I went on the senior command course, and then I was in a room with a couple of SBS blokes, just talking away. And there's like, well, just see if you can have another go. I was like, all right then. Back for selection. So I wrote to the training officer at Hereford. I said, look, sir, with respect, I was shit in 1997. I wasn't good enough. Hands up. I've done this now. I'm a mountain leader. Could you please give me another chance? And he come back and he said, yeah. But then I had to write back to him. I said, but I'm too old as well. Can you? He's like, you necky shit. You're not the grey man. I already know who you are, kind of thing. And he goes, you've got one chance. So I failed. Sorry, I got to the end of my senior command course on the Friday, and then I went to the branch sponsor and said, I'm not going on the Mountain Leaders Ones course on Monday because I'm going selection. And that I was hated then, absolutely hated.
Yeah, because
I took a billet.
Yeah, the other thing is, once they've given you that course, they want their pound of flesh out of you as well, don't they? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
and the branch sponsor wasn't happy. But previously to that, I said people weren't happy about me getting made up quickly in that branch. We was downtown, and a couple of the old MLs was giving me shit, and one of them said it was probably because you're ethnic, and then I wanted to fight them, and thankfully my wife was there, and kind of we left, and then I went back to 4-2 the next week, and the RSM got me into his office. I said, what's the problem? I goes, I've got a problem. And he goes, right, you're not doing anything on my camp. And he says, he sent me away I used to go around the schools for 6 months promoting the Corps. Yeah. And he just took me off camp. And he says, I don't want any of that business on my camp. Which was great for me because I was going around schools and then training all the time. Staying in hotels. And that helped me prepare for selection. It was amazing.
Done you a right favour.
Yeah, and I was a winner. But the problem was now that...
So what year is it now?
So that's 2005.
Okay. So you're presumably going on selection now in the knowing that if you pass, you're going straight to war, isn't you? Really? That's the reality of that, isn't it?
Yeah. So, but the other thing was, if I failed, I didn't ever think I was failed. I'd failed because you can't think like that. But
no.
I can't. I don't know where I can go back to because I've just fucked off the ML branch. I've really got to put my own pressure on here. But I didn't think of that, and I went on selection in 2006.
Yeah, okay, and presumably this time
it was all good.
You
and putting it next to the ML's course, and I'm not saying selection's easy, but I found it. It wasn't as hard as the ML course.
No, I get it. And I've always been pulled up. Two things I've said before, which I've been pulled up for. What was the hardest part of selection? Getting on it. Because for me, it took me 2 years to get on it. Do you know what I mean? Which is tongue in cheek a little bit because obviously it is a hard course. But I enjoyed the jungle.
Yeah.
The hills was a slog, all right. The hills was a slog and a beast, and I did it in January, and you know yourself, do you know what I mean? It's honking, isn't it? But the jungle, although it was a difficult environment, I actually enjoyed it because now you got the gun.
Yeah.
Now you got the gun. Now you're patrolling. Now you're going like that. Right, yeah. Do you know what I mean? So it was like...
Yeah. And I, on selection, when I was in the jungle, I seemed to be the troop stripey all the time. I was kind of left alone a bit. And I don't know why, but it was great. It was great.
Yeah.
I didn't need to carry the radio. I was making someone else carry it.
Yeah.
But I was left alone. It's kind of great. And I'd been to Brunei a couple of times prior to that. So I was I knew what was coming, and I kind of enjoyed it. And I'd done 6 months in Belize, so I'm not saying it's a doddle, but I knew what to expect, and I just needed to do everything they told me to, and that's all you need to do.
Selection is monkey see, monkey do, and if monkey doesn't do, monkey goes home. It's busted done. Do you know what I mean? So,
and you've got to smile. And that's always been my problem. If I don't smile or make myself smile, it looks as if I'm pissed off all the time. So I had to just make sure that everybody, the DS,
understands.
Can see. I want to be.
I want to be.
Because if they don't,
I'm not shimphing.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get it.
And if people don't know me, that's what you'd expect.
Yeah. It's just going through the motions. Can't be bothered.
Yeah.
Just and you can't have that. You've got to be chomping at the bit to get in there, haven't you?
Yeah.
So you passed selection. Straight down the road to Paul.
Yeah. Straight on to continuation. Brilliant. I got there. I did 14, all in all, 14 years in the Corps. And then when I got into Pool, I was like, oh my God, this is outrageous. You know, what's going on and how do I not know all this? And I've been in the Corps quite a long time. Yeah. You know, this is so exciting. You're allowed to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and it was amazing.
So what tours did you get in then?
So I ended up going to Afghan a few times, which was brilliant. It was great. It was tough. It was tough.
Were they quite kinetic tours? High energy?
Yeah.
Punchy?
Yeah. We was out all quite a lot and doing various tasks, but very, very high valued, you know, obviously. Yeah. And it was amazing. It took me that long from where I signed on the dotted line in 91 to then. That's actually what I wanted, because you think when you're joining, that's what you're getting. And it isn't.
No, of course it's not. No, especially not in 91.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, no one did. You was watching flipping Jerry Springer or something. You weren't really doing anything. But then when you're in the position of you can do all this and you've got all them assets and all them toys and everyone's on your side.
And, and if you need something, you go and get it. And all that sort of stuff.
There's no questions asked. It's what do you need? How can you make best of what that task is? And it was great.
Did you do any other operations while you were in?
I did a couple of other things, but it was different things.
Yeah.
So when I came back from my last Afghan, I was kind of coming towards my 20-year point, and then I was kind of you get a bit of a break and then go into some kind of training. So then I went into dive team.
Oh, okay.
So I actually.
How did you find diving? Because I did the whole aspect of diving was just honking to me, and I'm glad I never did hardly any of it at all. Do you know what I mean?
Up to then, because I'd obviously done my continuation. Up to then, I didn't really. I did it because it was part of the job.
Yeah.
But I didn't really like it that much.
Yeah.
But when I went to the dive team, I actually went and did the courses, the proper civvy courses. This is why this is happening. This is, I understand. I'm not saying you don't get taught that.
Yeah.
But you don't, because everything's at 100 miles an hour.
You don't get time to appreciate it.
You don't.
Yeah.
You don't, and you don't understand. You do understand, but you don't. You can make it work.
Yeah.
But you don't know the proper theories. And I learned that, and then I came back into dive team for a few years, and started teaching, bringing them guys up to scratch when they come in, and all the squadron, making sure that they're all good to go and I really enjoyed it.
So did you see your time out doing that, did you?
So I did it up to my 22, and then I enjoyed diving that I wanted to carry on, and then I went into a specialist diving part for another 5 years.
Oh, okay.
So I was out and about diving, and it was great.
Wow.
It was all
So
Yeah.
diving on another level, really. So
I was.
You've done any of that saturation diving? I know that's not probably any call for it, but you ever thought about it?
I did the bell
Yeah.
as a course for something else I was doing, which military paid for, which was very expensive. So I did all that. I went down to 50 meters and welding and all that kind of stuff. But that was just because I needed to do that the specialist part of that to do something.
Yeah, got you.
To suit something, to do something else.
Trying to beat around the bush.
Yeah. But yeah, then I did 5 years out and about maritime stuff, which a lot of people didn't know, even though, I mean, there's places within both of our groups where people don't know what people are doing in them groups.
Yeah, of course there is. Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was in one of them
absolutely.
kind of thing, and it was.
Yeah, that must be. That's like being in a cop platoon, because the rest of the battalion aren't allowed to know what you're doing, and
Yeah.
they don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
They don't even ask what you're doing, so you just cut around, do your own thing, hand your slips in,
Yeah.
get what you get, and off you go.
No
innit?
questions.
So, no, it's nice. So you finally get out.
Yep.
What did you do when you got out?
So a couple of years prior to getting out, I started working on my LinkedIn. I got told LinkedIn's the way ahead. So I started doing that. I started networking. I started going to various clubs, i.e. UJ Club, and there's a club that we're members of in London, shall we say, that I used to go into.
Okay, yeah.
And just networking. And I just built that network and meeting people for coffees and things like that. And I didn't really know what I was doing.
Did you know what you wanted to do when you got out?
Yeah, I'd had enough of being in the military.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be a civvy. I thought I wanted to be a civvy.
Yeah.
So I did get a job. So the Christmas, my end date was March 31st, but I got the job, or the tick in the box in Christmas, to start in January. And I was going to be, I was a project manager for wind farms.
Okay.
Completely different.
Yeah.
Near to my home, so it was commutable, which was great. And I did that for 2 years. And it didn't satisfy me. COVID hit then, and then they kind of looked at me, and they didn't really give me a reason why, but they kind of moved me on, because I think I was getting paid quite well, and I think my salary was going to get taken and moved, and I got moved on.
Yeah.
Which I got gardening leave for a couple of months, which was great, but during that, throughout all that time, I was always networking and keep it going. I've always believed that whatever you do, always keep the sidelines going, because you never know when.
Yeah, it could end any minute.
Yeah.
It could end any minute. Yeah, no, I'll get that totally.
And I was always doing that. And then a week after, I was still in my gardening leave, a week after I'd actually left the wind farm people, I got a call, right, do you want this job? And it was looking after a princess who, a princess in the UK. And I started that even before my gardening leave, so I rolled straight into it. It was guys who I used to work with, and some of your guys.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was back into the tribe,
back into the fold. Exactly.
Yeah.
Friends around here.
And I thought, I haven't actually done this before, as in civvy stuff. I was a bit taken back on that, but prior to that, when I was at Poole, I did the PS course.
Okay.
But then I used to go. I went to Hereford to do the course. I was the DS for the Poole guys. So.
Oh, okay.
So I did it from that side. So I knew what to do, and I was happy what I do. But I'd never done it in a civilian. Place.
Yeah, because there are.
And it was right at the top.
Yeah,
it was royalty straight away.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went straight in, and it was really enjoyable. I did that for a couple of years. The princess, shall we say, moved me on.
Okay.
I don't actually know why. I never found out why.
No, you probably never will.
And I never will. But I came straight out, and I bounced straight into other things. I was looking after A-list celebrities.
Yeah.
I was bouncing out, and I was having a great time. And then I got the call from a company from your background. Do you want to go to Ukraine? I went to Ukraine for 3 weeks.
Okay.
Which, it felt, and I really enjoyed that. I was dashing around, flipping, looking after the media, and things like that.
Yeah.
But I left the military because I'd had too much luck in the first place. But I can come in and out here and just get that feeling again.
Just toe in the water.
That's what it was. And I came back and I was like, I'll hang that back up a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I looked after a few more celebrities, and then I got the chance to start my own company with another chap. And since then we're doing it and getting other people to do the CP kind of work as well. So that's where I am at the moment.
Superb. And you do the motivational. You do a bit of motivational stuff as well, do you?
So I do a bit of speaking.
Okay.
I do after dinner stuff and things like that. And I think a lot of that is the motivation, because from I call it my story. If you've got it if you can look after your mind and put your mind in the right place, it doesn't matter if you're having a crap time.
Yeah.
You can just park that or do something about that and look for something that you want to do. And I've always looked at where I want to be, and I've always gone like that. I'm not the person to go straight to it.
Yeah.
And I think that makes you a stronger person, that you can get knocked back and knocked back and knocked back as long as you've got your goal. But then when you get that goal, that gets pulled in, then you get to another one.
Yeah.
So
of course it does,
I enjoy moving around.
You ever thought about writing a book?
I have, but I've not really I don't know who to speak to.
I can hook you up. If you're serious, I can hook you up.
Yeah.
Seriously, I think there's a lot of information in you, and there's a lot of stuff that people, role models are required in this society nowadays. I think you're a perfect candidate for that. Do you know what I mean? You've been there, seen it, done it. You've got stories to tell coming out of yin yang, and you've got lessons that people can learn from you without a doubt.
I met from one of your guys told me to go to asked me if I was available a couple of weekends ago to go to Sterling Airsoft.
Okay.
And I met them guys, and I had a right good time.
Yeah.
And spun a few dates, and their kit's amazing.
Mate, isn't it mad? You stand there and you go,
wow, everything. Absolutely. Like, wow, is that real?
15 grand's worth of knobs on his head. Like, where'd you get them? Oh, don't worry about it, mate. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
and I actually, when I first saw airsofters, I was I don't know what to make of you lot. But a lot of them couldn't get in the army for a number of different reasons. You know what I mean? But they still wanted that bit of experience. So I never knock them for it. Like, do you know what I mean? Because they're there, they're doing their thing.
And the nice when I was, giving them a few stares and that, there was humble and there wasn't off, because they wanted to be there and they was paying for that day. So it was really nice to see and see people get from the beginning of the day to the end of the day and getting to that target and enjoying it. And I really enjoyed it.
So quickly before we cut, what's your plans for the future? What's Pasha up to next? Obviously, you're going to be going that way to get there. I'm going to
get that way. And I've got loads of little things that I'm playing with. I want my ideal thing is my company to be, it will be successful, but it's how quick I can make that a success.
Yeah.
So I'm 51. I'd like to be another 3 or 4 years where I don't need to sit in the office and work at it. Someone else is going to do that.
Yeah.
I do enjoy charity, because I think I can help people with who I am, just because I am, and I can help. I want to help.
Yep, I understand that.
I'm a school governor now. I help kids do career advising at schools.
Okay, brilliant.
And I want to carry on my mountain stuff, so I want to stand on top of Everest. NIMS.
Yeah, NIMS, we want you on here and all. So maybe we can do a deal here, freeway.
So I think once I've got to that, then I can calm down a bit and then do things for me. Because at the moment, I've still got young children, so I need to make sure that they're fine till I can start playing.
Yeah. You got to tee them up. Yeah, of course you have. Yeah.
And I had my children late after I got into the SF world, because I wanted to get where I needed to be to provide without them struggling.
Yeah.
I didn't want them to ever go through anything that.
Of course. Yeah. Looking back on, especially with what you got. Not lumbered with, but with what you coped with, really. Do you know what I mean? Is how I'd say that. Listen, I hope you become a friend of the show. We'd love to have you on again at some stage. But look, listen, for now, thanks for coming in. It's great to speak to you. All right, buddy. Cheers, bud.